What up, everybody? It's your guy, Swin. J Bean. Thank y'all for tuning in with us, man. Staying up with us, tapping in. And man, recently, man, I seen something. Well, young brother had put up a video, man, of Crazy Bone. And where he was talking about the music industry and how there was a meeting, some time ago where they decided, maybe a couple of y'all have heard about this before, where they had a big meeting where they decided to push gangster music. And like did all positive, and because hip hop started off positive. It started off with a message. It was fun. It was educational. Yeah. And then gangster rap came in. You know what I'm saying? And then so supposedly these big wigs at these music companies and music labels got together, had a meeting, and decided to push gangster rap because they were private investors and owners of these private prisons. So they said, if we push the gangster rap, that'll create more criminals and we'll make money. And supposedly at this meeting, there wasn't any other genres of music being asked to do something similar.
Yeah.
So this video was shared by a brother off of TikTok by the name of Colin Bellamy. If you're on TikTok, man, follow that brother. And we're going to get into it for you.
Crazy Bone had exposed the industry, and he basically was talking about how all these record labels, invest in private prisons. So pretty much their main goal is to get us to go to prison. They're paying the artists to influence us to try to live like them. And that's why a lot of artists don't come out saying, oh, I went to school to get where I'm at now. You feel me? All these artists act like they came from the streets. That's why a lot of these old school artists from back in the day, that's why I listen to a lot of old school music, because a lot of these old school artists, they weren't with it. And that's why they barely drop music now. They're only giving big deals to artists that's agreeing to destroy the Black community. Think about all these new artists and what they promoting. At this meeting that Crazy Bone was talking about, guess what? There wasn't no country artists there, and that's why I say the Black community. You feel me? They know exactly what they're doing. Watch the video, though.
Music business has invested millions of dollars in the private prison system. Somebody sent me an article, I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
But it's actually a letter that was written by somebody that was a decision maker at a major label. He was invited to a very special meeting about the future of hip hop back in 1991. And the title of the letter is The Secret Meeting That Changed Rap Music and Destroyed a Generation. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not scared.
Look, that black van.
So I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Okay.
The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were there, right. Most of them familiar faces. Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign the confidentiality agreement, preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. And consequences were stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates.
Mm-hmm.
The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons.
Mm-hmm.
It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. My industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies. And as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. My days was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague.
Now, you see from that, man, I've heard about this in the past. Now, as you see, they said the record execs have a meeting to push an agenda for destruction in our community. Back in the day, man, we had a song called Headed for Self-Destruction.
Self-destruction.
Yeah.
Headed
for self-destruction. And all the rappers got together so they could preach, some positivity. And we also had, we all in the same gang.
Same gang, yeah.
They did one East Coast, did one West Coast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And man, the music today, it's really pushing this negative narrative. We already had the gangster rap, man. Myself, man, the music I try to make, I try to make good, clean, positive music. I try to have a message in my music, have that substance in it. But a lot of times, man, I'm not hating on the youngsters. A lot of them jam. But it's a big push on this negativity in the lyrics, the dress, the interaction with each other amongst men and women in our community. It's a big push for us to be apart, and deal with each other in a hateful, negative manner. And
look how, I didn't mean to cut you off, but look how many of them have died in the last couple of years, man.
Yeah, man. We got so many brothers. And just, they say one of the most dangerous jobs nowadays is to be a rapper.
Yeah.
And we got so many
brothers. So crazy that
it's somebody dying.
Also, man, I took a little class, not a day or two ago, and they were saying that the leading cause of death of youngsters now is gun violence. So so not disease, not gun violence.
Yeah, man. They as you seen, man, in that video, man, on the side of it, we had the 13th Amendment put up there. Yeah. And it said, that back then slavery was abolished, but the only way it could be legal is if somebody's in prison.
Yeah.
So we've had people recently say that, while they was in prison, they were picking cotton. Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you watch that documentary called 13?
I watched some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. So you need to check that out, people. It's called 13. But basically it's saying once you're in jail, you can basically be a slave again. So
that's what it's written. Yeah, that's what it is written. And so not only did I see young brothers online saying that while they was locked up, they had them in the field, white cops on horses, having them picking cotton. One of my good friends, my buddy, my childhood friend, Benzo, that I grew up with, was in our group, man. If y'all familiar with us, y'all rock with us. We had a group called DT Click 3D. Benzo was our third group member. Benzo was locked up here in Texas, and they had him picking cotton. He said when they brought him out there in the field, he was like, "Oh hell no, I ain't doing this." He said, so as punishment, they took him and they put him on the bed of a flatbed truck. He said the truck, hot metal bed, it had the fence around it. He said it had a cage on the back of the truck, and it would put you out there in the hot sun and lock you up in that cage if you did not want to cooperate and did not want to work. And there's been other brothers coming out online saying that, yeah, it's just like the old days. And there's been a movement for abolition amendment to try to change the writing of the 13th Amendment, you know, to get rid of that exception. Louisiana was one of the states that fought back. You know, there's been a couple states in the South that have they've already had votes on them with this abolition amendment. But today it takes a lot for the Constitution to change.
Oh yeah.
So it's still there. So according to this, slavery is still legal within the penal system.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you see it, especially like I was a correctional officer for a second. Yeah, you see it, man, because they make them they basically have a whole squad. They go out there, they grow their own food, they raise cattle, you know, they make their own clothes, they make soap, they make razor blades, you know. All that stuff is done for free because they're not paying them. So yeah. So basically it's slavery.
Yeah.
So.
And you see how in that video, man, Crazy Bone was talking about in that letter, they were talking about how these record execs were private, they was invested in these private prisons. These prisons make a lot of money for the people they have locked up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, from last time I checked, it was anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a head a day for each person that was in there. And like they was emphasizing on rap music. Who mostly listen to rap and hip hop? Black people. It's you know, it's number one in the world, but mostly black people. And so we're gonna look at this, man. This is black imprisonment rate. All right. Average rate of black, Latinx, white imprisonment per 100,000 residents. And so this little blue man up here represents 50 persons. At the bottom, you see black Americans are incarcerated in state prisons at nearly 5 times the rate. This is from 2020. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the population of the United States, this is from 2020.
Yeah, we're making 12% of the population.
Almost, right now, it's like 13% of the population, but we have most of the people in prison.
Yeah.
So what they were doing was working. It's working. You know what I'm saying? And we got to stop it. Like I say, this system, I've been peeped this out a long time ago, man. This system is designed for us to fail. Don't help the system. You know what I'm saying? Don't do things to wind up in the system, because it's not, it's meant for you, but it ain't meant for you.
Yeah.
You know? So man, I seen that, man. I wanted to spread that news to people.
Oh yeah, man. Like you said, man. Like I said, when I did my little stint as a correction officer, man, you see it, man. You walk in, unfortunately, you walk into the prison, and most of the people that's in there are black males. They make a majority of the population. So next followed by Hispanic, you know. Then you see, next would be probably Caucasian, but after that you see sprinkles of Asians here and there, you know. So.
Now I'm gonna put this back up on the screen, man, because this shows the black population across America. The darker the blue, the more concentrated black people are there. So the darkest blue is 25% or more is in that state.
Yeah.
You know, there's not that many of us, but we got the most people in prison.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I say don't help this system.
Yeah. Like I said, also, man, I think a lot of crime is poverty too. So
yeah. But that was also done by experiment. You know, the word ghetto means experiment. You know, it's where you take people and put them in a closed in tight space with little to no resources.
Yeah.
And that's what the ghetto is.
Yeah.
So that's all by design.
Yeah, like I said, they took away a lot of the stuff we were trying to do for ourselves, you know. And when we had the whole civil rights movement, we had the Black Panther Party and other parties that came along. It was trying to build us an infrastructure, you know,
yeah,
so we could educate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We can have have economics by ourselves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But all that stuff was destroyed through, when we got flooded with the crack. But that's another conspiracy theory. But I believe that one.
Oh hell yeah! They say crack was designed because cocaine costs too much for black folks. Yeah. Through the research I read, that's why crack was created, because it was cheaper for people in black communities to get their hands on it because cocaine costs too much.
Yeah.
But man, we just wanted to put that out real quick, touch bases with y'all, man. Saw something that was interesting, wanted to share with the people if you already didn't know. So right now, like I say, man, I feel they heavily hitting us with the female rap. You know what I'm saying? Trying to attack our females. You see it, man. You see it in the lyrics, man.
You know who the most educated populist group is between any as far as like being Caucasian, Hispanic, or whatever. The black woman is the most educated out of everybody. Man, women, female, white, black, Hispanic. Black woman's the most educated. So the only way they can get them is to start a culture of wholeness. Excuse my language.
Yeah. Batting it up, they say. Yeah.
Wholeness. Being ratchet.
Yeah. So man, they pushing that big, man. Everywhere you look.
Look at all, like, the female rappers are bigger than the male rappers now because they already got us.
It's by design.
They already got us. So now it's time to concentrate on the woman.
Yeah. So all they do is break up more homes because the narrative being pushed, man, that's all they do.
Yeah.
That's how they do. You know what I'm saying? You have, when they do surveys, when they ask other groups of people, like, what do you see, or what do you think of when you see this image of this person? Or, they might show an image of or like, who do you think most looks like a thug? Who do you think most looks like a whore or a hooker? When they show them these images, they point at black people. I've been places in the world where they automatically assume that, because what they've been shown on images on TV, that black people are evil.
Yeah. Are uneducated. Yeah,
exactly.
Are slow.
And then they meet you and talk to you and be like, man, you nothing like that. I've met people in the military because they come from predominantly white towns. And they be like, man, you don't talk like black people. Like, man, what you mean? How black people talk? You know what I'm saying? You ain't never been around none of us. So how do we talk?
It was so funny, man. This one person thought I was from another country. That was so hilarious. Like, where you from? What country you from? I'm like, America.
Like I say, in boot camp, you had people, man, from towns where they never saw a black person, so they watched us brush our hair, comb our hair, brush our teeth, everything we did, how we got our haircut, try to see if it was the same as them. We all human beings.
All Homo sapiens.
Yeah. But man, just me and JB, man, saw this information and wanted to give it to the people. Hopefully, man, you got something out of it and you learned something you didn't already know. It's your guys, man, T Swin
and J Bean.
Man, tap it in for the Men Can Always Be Wrong podcast, man. Make sure, man, we got an amazing episode that we just had, man, with Jeff Clay. And Jeff Clay gonna be coming back on with us, man. So y'all tune in with that. But man, while you at it, make sure you go watch that episode. It's a 2-part episode, man. We touch on a bunch of stuff. Jeff Clay is gonna be a guest on our show again. So make sure y'all tune in. Also, before that, make sure you catch the J Chapter Lungsy episode, man. Self-heal practice, energy medicine, self-practitioner. Man, make sure you check that out, man. Really good episode, man. As always, man, it's your guy, T Swin, JB, Men Can Always Be Wrong podcast. And I'm gonna leave y'all with some positive music, man. Or some pride music, man. It's your guy, T Swin, man. The song is called Damn. All right? Y'all be easy.
Stay woke.
Let's get it.
In memory of our ancestors that came before us, the struggle continued. In memory of Nat Turner, Ashe. Malcolm X, Ashe. Marcus Garvey, Ashe. John Henry Clark, Ashe. Tupac Shakur, Ashe. God damn how they do that. Damn how they do that. Thinking to myself why we had to go through that. Life goes on and we gotta do the work. I can't lie, look in my eyes, that shit hurt. Got me saying, God damn, how they do that? Damn, how they do that? Thinking to myself, why we had to go through that? Life goes on and we gotta do the work. I can't lie, look in my eyes, that shit hurt. They put diseases in my people just to see how they affect us. Tap our phone calls and try hard to disconnect us from humanity. We getting killed for bright lights, but they can shoot up the whole church and get a chance to plead insanity. Tell me what's the logic in that? It's insane. And we not supposed to voice our opinions or feel pain. Exposed us to trauma, fed our babies to the gators. You ain't gotta search the galaxy to find the space invaders. They stole from our ancestors and they still stealing. We all know who the real villain and he still killing. They loving when we marching, loving when we praying. Now turn the other cheek, what the fuck is y'all saying? They spitting on our grandmothers, sterilizing daughters, assassinating black boys, poisoning the water, paying off the lawyers, and filling up the prisons. Lay down, I make them lay it down. What's your decision? God damn, how they do that? Damn, how they do that? Thinking to myself, why we had to go through that? Life goes on and we gotta do the work. I can't lie, look in my eyes, that shit hurt. Got me saying, God damn, how they do that? Damn, how they do that? Thinking to myself, why we had to go through that? Life goes on and we gotta do the work. I can't lie, look in my eyes, that shit hurt. That shit